They were very black days of Mongolian history because these statues and tankas were collected from centuries ago, and they were the zenith of Mongolian art. They showed the Mongolian people's development and their way of relating to spiritual things. This flourishing of art and of Mongolian culture was destroyed completely.
In 1911, a vast statue of Chenrezig, the Buddha of Compassion, was built at Ganden Monastery. During the 1930s, it was destroyed, and the bronze statue melted down. The metal was used to make bullets. Today, the statue has been reconstructed and brings a message of compassion and loving kindness to all who view it. The Arhangai Monastery, once a thriving community of monks, was one of hundreds of monasteries destroyed. The survivors of this lineage continue to practice in a ger near the site. For 70 years, Buddhism was practiced in secret. The flame of faith kept alive through the quiet devotion of many Mongolian people. Much of the art and literature of Mongolia's precious history was buried or hidden to save them from destruction. These relics were found in the backyard of the prominent Buddhist nunnery, Dara X. In 1938, the curator of the Ravja Museum hid the entire collection of relics belonging to the famous Karmapa Lama, Danden Ravja, in a series of 17 caves. He told no one of the location until 1965, when he passed the curatorship to his grandson, only 5 years old at the time. Here, Alton Gerald holds the snuff bottle given to him by his grandfather as a symbol of the position of curator of the Ravja Museum. Alton Gerald restored the treasures to the museum in 1991. At the end of the 19th century, a prophecy was written about the future of Buddhism in Mongolia.
The prophecy says that there will be destruction of Buddhism in this Mongolia, and that following all this, there will be the Bakula Arhat who will come and help restore Mongolia Buddhism. And this prophecy had been done over 100 years ago.
Bakula Rinpoche was appointed ambassador to Mongolia by the Indian government in 1989. He is the reincarnation of Bakula Arhat, one of the 16 enlightened disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha.
In 1970, I had these monks, and the Buryots and Mongolians, and monks from different countries. We were together. It was the first time ever that we were able to bring His Holiness the Dalai Lama to Mongolia. And that is a process that helped in a way to rekindle Buddhism in Mongolia.
In 1989, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama returned to Mongolia. He gave the auspicious Kalachakra initiation and instructed Mongolian monks how to build the Kalachakra sand mandala. These monks were the first trained in this precious representation since communism.
Communist ideology was such a strong one in my childhood that we used to even have a kind of game that you are Lama or something, you are monk who was like from this old age, it's there, you know, it's just that kind of relationship. And in the movies, in the books about the past, about the monks, was such a low esteem one, you know. Like, I mean, they were shown, presented like enemies of the people because they poisoned and then exploited Mongolian people, and then also they were lying and they didn't have anything, etc., etc. All this idea was like anti-Buddhism.
I mean, you couldn't imagine that 10 years ago this country was something like this, you know. I mean, the situation at that time was terrible. I remember the people coming to Rinpoche so fearful, you know. Everybody is being watched, being listed, and but then still people will come. But when freedom was kind of restored by way of political freedom that was announced, then you should have seen the floods of people coming to the embassy.
So I feel that it is time for us to return, to pay back in a way to Mongolia for what Mongolians have done in the past, in order to contribute to the flourishing of Buddhism today.
Generally, without understanding Buddhism, you cannot have wisdom to really able to discriminate what's the right path, what's the right religion, wrong religion. You cannot. Without learning Buddhism, you don't have the eye to see what's the right religion, wrong religion, what is the right path, wrong path. You cannot. You don't have the wisdom to discriminate.
Not only do I want to restore the dying tradition of Mongolian culture and art, but I want to develop it better than before.
I pray that all people in Mongolia as well as around the world can become Buddhist, because it will make them happier and it will make more peace.
Many people throughout the world, both Buddhist and non-Buddhist alike, when they think of the Buddha or the Buddhist tradition as a whole, what comes to mind are such qualities as compassion, serenity, and equanimity. So this is what Buddhism has become widely known for. This being the case, especially for those of us who have been raised in the Buddhist tradition, whose parents are Buddhist, it is especially our responsibility to study Buddhism, to practice it, to do our best to be of service to the whole world, to be of benefit in whatever way we can.
To succeed, we need to make this practice our own. So it's vitally important to draw from our own cultures to establish a foundation for the development of these practices. We'll find the heart of our practice in the strengths of our heritage.